All happy families are alike. Each unhappy family is unhappy in its way. The two most powerful warriors are patience and time. Without knowing what I am and why I am here, life is impossible. It is not given to people to judge what's right or wrong. People have eternally been mistaken and will be mistaken, and in nothing more than in what they consider right and wrong. Joy can only be real if people look upon their life as a service and have a definite object in life outside themselves and their personal happiness. Seize the moments of happiness, love, and be loved. That is the only reality in the world. All else is folly. The greatest happiness you can have is knowing that you do not necessarily require happiness. A man can live and be healthy without killing animals for food. Therefore, if he eats meat, he participates in taking animal life merely for the sake of his appetite. Without faith, there is no possibility of living. We lost because we told ourselves we lost. Everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself. Happiness does not depend on outward things, but on the way we see them. Art is not a handicraft. It is the transmission of feeling the artist has experienced. Free thinkers are those who are willing to use their minds without prejudice and without fearing to understand things that clash with their customs, privileges, or beliefs. What counts in making a happy marriage is not so much how compatible you are, but how you deal with incompatibility. To get rid of an enemy, one must love him. In order to get power and retain it, it is necessary to love power. But love of power is not connected with goodness, but with qualities that are the opposite of goodness, such as pride, cunning, and cruelty. The law condemns and punishes only actions within certain definite and narrow limits. It thereby justifies, in a way, all similar actions that lie outside those limits. Respect was invented to cover the empty place where love should be. One of the first conditions of happiness is that the link between man and nature shall not be broken. Historians are like deaf people who go on answering questions that no one has asked them. In all history, there is no war which was not hatched by the governments alone, independent of the interests of the people, to whom war is always pernicious even when successful. When you love someone, you love the person as they are, and not as you'd like them to be. Only people who are capable of loving strongly can also suffer great sorrow, but this same necessity of loving serves to counteract their grief and heals them. The more we live by our intellect, the less we understand the meaning of life. The changes in our life must come from the impossibility to live otherwise than according to the demands of our conscience, not from our mental resolution to try a new form of life. If then I were asked for the most important advice I could give, that which I considered to be the most useful to the men of our century, I should simply say, in the name of God, stop a moment, cease your work, look around you. The best way to escape from your problems is to solve them. I think, if it is true that there are as many minds as there are heads, then there are as many kinds of love as there are hearts. Everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself. Truth, like gold, is to be obtained not by its growth, but by washing away from it all that is not gold. There is no greatness where there is not simplicity, goodness, and truth. There is something in the human spirit that will survive and prevail. There is a tiny and brilliant light burning in the heart of man that will not go out no matter how dark the world becomes. Happiness is not a matter of intensity, but of balance and order and rhythm and harmony. An arrogant person considers himself perfect. This is the chief harm of arrogance. It interferes with a person's main task in life, becoming a better person. In the name of God, stop a moment, cease your work, look around you. Because of the self-confidence with which he had spoken, no one could tell whether what he said was very clever or very stupid. Life could be limitless joy if we would only take it for what it is, in the way it is given to us. A man is like a fraction whose numerator is what he is, and whose denominator is what he thinks of himself. The larger the denominator, the smaller the fraction. If it is true that there are as many minds as there are heads, then there are as many kinds of love as there are hearts.